You know how fast you were going?
What? How fast you were going?
I don't know. 10?
8.
Be advised, this is an explicit podcast, so if you're easily offended, get your panties twisted into a knot, turn this off before you get butthurt and mad, start to cry, have to run to your safe space. All opinions are those of the host and his guest and do not reflect the opinions of any government agency. Welcome back to MOTORCOP Chronicles podcast. I'm your host, the Iceman, and back for part deuce is Holstera.
Woohoo!
He's here for part 2. This is Memorial Day. I did not put out one Sunday as usual because I knew it was Memorial Day. The next day I figured I'd just put it out today. So we're recording this now. My time is about 7:30. His time's 8:30. So as soon as we get done, I'm going to put it out straight off, hot off the presses. And I hope everyone had a good Memorial Day weekend.
A safe one.
For the people that actually know what Memorial Day means. No, I mean, I actually watched a thing on YouTube earlier from the Liberty Hangout where she goes out and asks a bunch of questions, and it was just sad. It's a sad state.
Those are terrible, ain't they? Don't you feel like half of them have to be staged?
I don't know, because I mean, if that's the case, I don't know.
Things about the Civil War.
I don't know.
You know, they're like, who won or who fought it?
Yeah, I don't know.
And they
how
say
people,
like the Carolinas.
Yeah, I don't know how people graduated school or still in school that they don't know. You know, she asked, what was Memorial Day stood for. I think 90% of people didn't know. She asked people where Pearl Harbor was. Some of them said Florida.
No. Wow.
A lot of people from World War, they said, who'd we fight in World War II? And people said anywhere between China to, some people actually said that we went to war against the British.
The Revolutionary War.
Yes.
Yeah, that one.
Yes, that one. But that was World War II. People didn't know, who the president was for, during the Civil War and stuff like that. It's sad. It was sad. It was sad. I was like, God, that's why our country is so fucked up. But I hope everybody had a good Memorial Day, because Memorial Day is supposed to be a celebration for the men and women in the military that gave their lives for this country and for your freedoms.
Paid the ultimate sacrifice.
That's what today's for. It's not for a 3-day weekend, thanks to our illustrious vice president, because she's a fucking idiot too. So, I mean,
it always surprises me that people would get Veterans Day and Memorial Day mixed up.
Oh yeah. Well, I know Camel Toe Harris made some kind of tweet I read about on there, and it's just sickening that
But that's their new agenda, buddy.
The vice president it's just sickening. Country's going to hell in a handbasket
quickly
with gasoline underwear on. So that's what's going on.
They get all that gasoline crap controlled over there with you. I know down here everybody was running to the store and filling up garbage bags, and
No, we didn't have any issues down here. I did see some stuff online where some people were putting gasoline in garbage bags, and
no, it was here. Straight up. I'm not even kidding. 5-gallon buckets I seen. A guy had a whole thing full of 5-gallon buckets.
The 5-gallon bucket holder is the people that were putting the shit in the bags. One thing, that shit's most likely going to eat through those bags
quickly.
So it's just no. We didn't have any gas shortages Thank goodness.
You wouldn't think we would either, because we get all of our fuel through the port. But
we got a lot of the plant. We got a lot of the plants that produce the gasoline. So
right, yeah,
Exxon
you guys are
and
producing it and ship it here,
and all that shit like that. So we don't have to do it. So we have talked. We always talk here and there, but let's get in. We were discussing different units and what happens to us.
Yeah, different types of cars over the years. I mean, you guys know my history with the Caprice. No, it was an Impala. It wasn't a Caprice. The Caprice was before my age. You probably know all about that.
Well, the
big body ones.
Yeah, but they came out with a new Caprice. I don't know, several years back. They don't make them again. They stopped making them, but they came out with them again. And I actually had one not too long ago, and it wasn't as big as those big ones you think of, but I know they came with a Corvette engine in it, and it was like super fast. It was just, It was a bitch for my big ass to get in and out of. Once I got in, it had plenty of leg room. It was just the getting in and out of it was not fun.
And that was my love with the Crown Vic. I mean, it was like riding in a couch. It didn't matter how big, how small you were. You fit perfectly inside of a P71, seat.
No, the Crown Vic was the ultimate police car. You get in and out of it easily, no matter how big you were. It ran great. It was reliable. It was tough.
And a lot of people don't realize how safe they are either. They actually, like the door supports and stuff in those Crown Vics, the P71s, was something like 3 times the size of the actual structural support of a regular Vic. So if you took a side impact, you were more likely to survive. Whereas the newer cars don't have that.
Well, I'm sure Ford, I would think, would realize how badly whoever's decision it was at corporate office decided, we're not going to make the fucking Crown Vic police car, Crown Vics, period. That's just stupid. Even though that was the most widely used police vehicle in the whole entire world, let's just stop making them.
Well, you know what it was? The damn things lasted so long. So if you had, I had a Crown Vic that was in service. And trust me, they retired it at 60,000 miles. But I ended up going back into that cruiser, and I drove it till about 160,000 miles. But they just lasted forever, and they were cheap to fix. So Ford was losing money because nobody was buying new cars. Yeah. So with the new Explorers and the Ford, ain't a Focus. What is that new crap they drive now?
I know that they're using Ford Explorers, which I had a brand new one before I got back in motors in the department. I mean, it was a good little SUV. Only thing I didn't like, from the size of it, is I had to sit straight up in it because I couldn't move the seat back any more than what it was. So it was like I was just sitting straight up the entire shift. I'd you sometimes see me, I'd be like parked somewhere outside of the unit walking around just trying to stretch out because you wasn't taking no naps in this thing or nothing because you're sitting straight up the whole time. It was extremely uncomfortable for me. Maybe some other shorter people or whatever, but
what's it? The people come up with these ideas thinks that every cop is 5'5" and 120 pounds. I hate to tell you, once we slap all that gear on, we're not really small anymore.
No, not 5'5", or I think I was born 120 pounds. So, but I think the department I'm with now, the last 2 batches they've bought for uniform guys is they're buying the Dodge Durangos right now.
Yeah, the Durangos are nice. They have a little bit more space than the Explorers.
Yeah, and I know some other departments. They got one department I know of. I mean, all they buy for the uniform guys, all they buy is the Tahoes, which is more on the more expensive end of units.
It is. I have an issue with that. I don't mind the Tahoes, but for a high-speed traffic interdiction unit, a Tahoe is not. That is not designed to be going 150, 160 miles an hour and doing pit maneuvers. It's not. You're going to have to have a quick mover like a Vic or a Taurus in there to do that.
But like I said, I know some cities are still. I've seen some new Durangos from a city department. I mean, not Durangos, the Chargers.
Yeah.
So, but
Well, I had one. I ended up having to. I turned it back in. The mirrors and the blind spots are ridiculous. And the back end, when you look to change lanes, you really can't see because the side or the rear windows are so small. And then when you try to use a little side view mirror, it's like using a little makeup case mirror. Just, you got it hanging out there, but you can't really see nothing out of it. It's useless. But yeah,
well,
they had
you
way too
never
much torque.
you never did tell your story of your railroad track incident.
I didn't tell that story.
No, we had talked about it prior to. You didn't tell it.
Oh, yeah. That's why you were so quick to say, all right, let's make this episode, because I like to talk for an hour and then say, all right, let's record. All right. So I worked for a medium-sized department after the smaller department, because with salaries down here, the little department only paid like $18,500 for an entire year. That was ridiculous. So I pretty much doubled that by moving to this other department. And I was an FTO. Just so non-Leos know, FTO is field training. Even if you've got 10 years on the job, the agency's still going to make you go through about 6 months. Some give longer, some are shorter for patrol. So
When I
was
switched
out.
departments, my FTO was 2 days.
Oh, the other guy?
No, when I switched departments from the department I used to be with and the one I'm with now, when I got hired, I rode with somebody for 2 days. Once they realized that
They were wasting their time. You already knew what you were doing.
Basically, this guy's job was it was a different computer system, report writing system that I was using at the other department, was to show me the report writing system. 2 days, then I was off, came back to work by myself.
You thought you were going to be a 1080 in the passenger seat, and all of a sudden, wait a minute, I got my own unit?
Yeah, I was 10-8.
That's great. Well, I mean, that's great.
What were they going
the smaller and medium departments.
What were they going to teach me?
Right. Especially because you got more time on the road than most people with that agency.
Yeah, and I mean, the guy I rode with, I mean, he's the since have made lieutenant. He's a good cop, but I had been doing the shit longer than he had.
Right.
I mean, and it's just, 40 miles from where I was in Louisiana. We still have the same laws and everything. I just had to learn to report stuff. But go on about your story there, since I interrupted you.
All right. So everybody knows little ins and outs of the FTOs and all that good stuff. So I'm out. Now I'm actually in the driver's seat now because we're coming to the end of my FTO phase. So you do about, the first couple of weeks or whatever, you're in the passenger seat, then the FTO wants to see what you're doing. So they put you in the driver's seat. So I'm about 5 months in, almost 6. And all of a sudden we're tooling around, responding to calls, and a officer needs assistance call comes out over the radio. Caught it immediately, started heading that way. And I'm cooking pretty fast. My thing has always been, I'm going to get to my fellow officers quick. I want to be there, especially when you hear a guy yell for help over the mic. So I'm booking, and there's either a bridge that you could take, but there's this side road, and that's the road I actually needed to be on. And it goes down into almost like a gully, but it's a major highway. And some of these cities have gigantic railroad track crossings. And when I say gigantic, they have this huge hump that you have to go over. This thing had to be probably progressively 6 foot, 8 foot off the ground. Then it obviously goes back down to the road again. And on the other side is a red light.
Dukes of Hazzard ramps.
Perfect Dukes of Hazzard. Well, so I'm doing about it. Well, I ain't got to worry about it because I didn't say the agency name. About $130, $140. And I'm slowing down. So I get back down to about 60, 70, which I feel comfortable. We're still going to leave the ground, but we're going to be in complete control of the car. And the FTO loses his mind. Now, this conversation had to take place in about a quarter mile. And that's how fast this all happened. And he proceeds to tell me, that officer needs assistance. You're not going to slow down. You're going to go. And I said, sir, we're going to hit that. And he goes, I don't give a shit. Floor it. as an FTO, you really don't have much leeway. If I tell my FTO, no, I'm not going to do it, right after this call is done, I'm probably going to be fired anyway. So you just do it as long as everybody's going to be safe. And needless to say, I Dukes a hazard to that shit. That was a brand new Chevy Impala with less than, I want to say 4,000 miles on it. They literally just gave it to us, and I went airborne. I went very airborne. We came back down on the other side. It slammed the ground so hard, it literally bent the frame in half. So the middle of the car was touching the asphalt. At that point, we lost control, slapped the telephone pole, and I was unemployed. 2 weeks later, they called me in and told me that because of my actions, I caused the damage to the car. And I asked them if they reviewed the tape, all the audio from the car, because back then we didn't have body cams. But the minute the lights and sirens went on, immediately the car started recording audio and video in the vehicle or on our persons. And they said, absolutely, we heard it, but you were in control of that vehicle. You had to make that decision, not the FTO, which is in law enforcement. That is the mega. You're between a rock and a hard place.
Basically, he's worth more to us than you are, but somebody's got to pay for this shit.
Right. Yeah. We're going to put this on the chief's desk, and we would rather have your name.
Yeah. You're the fall guy.
And that's how that went, man. And I left that agency, and I didn't even look back. I immediately got on with the larger agency, and I didn't have no issues. Loved every minute of it.
I just want to know, when you hit the track and you went airborne, did you go yeehaw? Or was it
hit the horn, hoping it would go.
Or was it an oh shit?
No, it was I learned earlier when I was a rookie, and I guess I'll give you that conversation here in a minute. But when you're traveling at extreme high speeds, I've always had my seatbelt on. The only time I pop it off is when we're either rolling up to the scene, or I think the suspect is going to bail from a vehicle. Otherwise, the seatbelt's on. Thank God it was, because when I tell you, I mean, you feel everything in the car just become weightless. And you realize very quickly, we're not on the ground anymore, and things can go very bad very quick. And they did. And then all of a sudden, of course, everything in the car slams. You got all the weight in the trunk. You know, it caused some damage. But no, I didn't get a chance to scream out the window, yeehaw! No. But that would be a very appropriate thing for the city I worked for at the time.
No. That's one phone call you never want to have to make.
Oh, I didn't make any phone calls. It was literally the FTO kind of looked at me in disgust, like I did something wrong, and just advised, dispatch, we're signal 4, vehicles out of commission, no major injuries, single vehicle, signal 4. Or a single vehicle accident.
Well, you don't even like putting
roll a tow truck.
I mean, it's just when you just never want to get on there and say, you hate getting on there and say you were in a crash, period, even when it's not your fault, because you're like, fuck. Because I don't care what department you work for, admin does not like it when units get fucked up, even when it's not your fault.
Oh, no.
I mean, you may not get suspended or get in trouble for, somebody rear-ending you, but they still not happy about it.
No, because then they got to worry about you. Well, first of all, they don't have to worry because you're going straight into a fleet vehicle. When you wreck a vehicle or anything like that, regardless of whose fault it is, they very rarely hand you the keys to a brand new car.
Oh, yeah.
Usually it's, hey, that 1980s Caprice over there that has one light that flickers on top, and that's all you get.
Yeah, I think it might have roaches in it.
Yeah, not only does it got roaches, but when you hit the siren, it just kind of sparks and yeah.
See, I knew this. I'm not saying their names, of course, but I knew this cop, and we worked for the same department for a little while, and he went to move to different departments, stuff like that. And anyway, I never physically worked with him like on the same shift or anything like that, and. But the guy suffered from what do they call that? He had very dry, flaky skin. Is that cirrhosis or something?
Psoriasis.
Psoriasis. There you go. He suffered from that, like really bad. Okay, not his fault.
Oh no.
Not his fault, but it was extremely bad. And he was a super nice guy. He just was very flaky. But anyway, this other department he went to work for, it was a department where they had to share units. So the unit was basically 10/8, 24/7. Yeah, day shift had it, and they'd swap. Whoever's night shift.
Oh no. Yeah.
So anyway,
Squad shares.
yeah, so they had to share. They had to share a unit. Well, I know some other people that worked over there, and they said they actually had to go out and buy like one of them dust busters or something like that. Because like when they got the car, I mean, poor guy, it ain't his fault. But like they would get in it, and there was like just flakes just everywhere, all over the place, and they would like have to vacuum the shit out of it because he done flaked all. It's like fuck. It's like, get out the dirt.
I want to laugh, but I feel bad for laughing.
You want? I mean, but hey, back in the day when I was a reserve, they had a reserve unit, and I don't know why, but I don't know why. I mean, but I don't know if it was from where they used to keep it or what. But this when I say roaches, the car actually had like house roaches in it, the little house roaches.
Like wood roaches or German roaches?
No. I'm not talking about the big outside roaches. I'm talking about them little ones that get up in your house.
That's weird. Nobody else used the car?
No, it was a reserve unit. So, several, all the reserve officers would share it. And it was
I'll be setting off a whole can of Raid on my lunch break.
But look, I mean, because I do remember I was driving down the road when I was a reserve one time, and I almost crashed this motherfucker because I felt a roach run up my pants. And I almost crashed, slammed the brakes on. I got out, jumping around, trying to get this fucking, just freaking out because I had this roach. I'm thinking this motherfucker's going to bite me on my balls or something. I'm going to have a roach bite on my balls. But it's like, we actually got to the point, I think we put a fogger in that motherfucker, so I'm trying to get it.
Yeah.
The car had roaches.
That's what I'm saying. The whole can of Raid, just pop the top, throw it in there, reel the windows up, and let it go for the night.
Yeah, but the car had roaches. It was a roach ride.
Well, I got a very similar story. I don't know if I ever told you. I'm not a real big fan of frogs.
No, I didn't know you were afraid of frogs.
I'm not afraid of frogs. Don't like damn frogs. Big difference. I'll grab a hold of a frog, but if a frog jumps out of nowhere at me, I freak out like a little schoolgirl. Like, it makes no sense. Either way, I've always been like that. My brother-in-law used to let my nephews, back when we were little, torment me. So they'd put like frogs in my tennis shoes. So I just have, and I get ready to put my shoe on. There's a frog in there, so it would jump out at me, scare the crap out of me. Either way, I don't like frogs. And I don't know if you guys have squad meetings.
No, I'm odors. I go 10/8, and I don't even usually go 10/7 off shift or 10:42. I guess dispatch just knows I get off at 3. I usually just leave. So
no, I used to figure out exactly when I could hit the county line directly at my 10/7 time, and then at that point I call 10/7 and then shut the radio off. If they need me, they'll call me. But no, okay. So we have squad meetings, which is, depending on the size of the agency, you've got, 2 people, sometimes 5, 10 people. But it's basically night shift and day shift coming together to tell what's been going on inside of your sector. So we've got that going on. We leave out of there, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to go ahead, and I'm 10/7 anyway. I'm going to refuel and go home. And we pull out of this parking lot, and of course, the first 2, 3 cars go. And then I got my window cracked because, me being a cigarette smoker, I ashed outside the car. And all of a sudden, the biggest damn tree frog you ever seen just pokes his little head in the window and looks at me. And now I'm all of a sudden working my way towards the breakdown lane because I know now I'm trying to cut across 3 lanes and then get to the breakdown so I can turn right into the gas station. And this frog's looking at me, and I'm starting to pay more attention to the frog than I am to the road. And I just told myself, I said, I swear to God. And right after I said, I swear to God, this frog leapt onto my chest. Instantly, I forgot that I was trying to straighten my cruiser out and just proceeded to slam on the brakes, but it was already going into like a like a retention pond that was empty. So I've got all the other units behind me seeing this going on. I jump out of the car, freaking out, trying to get this frog off me and everything. And they pull over, turn their lights on, of course, make a big ass scene out of this. And the car didn't take any damage. It just slid into the culvert. And I slammed on the brakes, got out, getting the frog off. And everybody's jumping out. They're thinking like I'm on fire or something. Something's crazy happened. And my phone partner walks over at the time. He's a goofy dude. And he goes, "Bro, are you good? What's the matter? What's the matter? You all right?" And here I am freaking out. I'm like, oh, Jesus, it hits me what I just did in front of everybody.
There's a frog jumped on
you. And I said, "There's a fucking frog in my unit." And when I tell you, everybody went from concern, thinking I was having like a seizure or something, into hysterical laughter. I mean, they were like, "Wait a minute, this happened because of frog." And I said, "It's the biggest damn tree frog you ever seen." And
I'm surprised you didn't get the nickname of Frogger.
Oh, no. Well, I mean, back then I was trying to prove myself, so I was kind of a hard ass most days. But either way, he reaches in the car and he grabs this tree frog and he goes, "I want to take it home, put it in the fish tank." And I just told him, no, just keep it away from me. I'm good. And yep, we proceeded to back the car out. Thank God that it hadn't rained, so I was able to drive it out of the grass and get back on the road. But after that, I didn't smoke in my unit. No more reeling the window down. I was good. I'll stand outside.
My daughter is deathly afraid of fucking tree frogs.
See,
she was here the other night. she hates them. Now I remember 100 years ago, I used to work at a state correctional prison as a prison guard before I started, So, and I worked a 10 to 10 shift. I worked in the hobby shop. I worked from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. So I was heading home from work one evening, I had my window down. It was a nice night. I believe the little Toyota truck I had didn't have air conditioning, so that was my air conditioning. So I had the window down.
T60 AC?
Yeah. So I'm heading on home. But it was nice night. Yeah, it was springtime. Had the window down. Heading home, and all of a sudden I felt something, had my hand kind of on the, door frame to window, just cruising, and felt something, and I was like, "What the hell?" And I rubbed my face. Something hit my hand or something, and kind of in my face. So I just kind of rubbed my face. I'm like, "What is that?" And I happened to look in the rearview mirror, and I almost crashed because when I looked at myself in the rearview mirror, my whole entire face was glowing.
Lightning bugs?
It freaked me the fuck out. So apparently,
working around a nuclear plant?
A lightning bug must have hit me in my hand, and when it did, it splattered and hit me on the face, and then I rubbed it. So as I looked into the mirror, that I now looked like an alien had just spooged on my face or something like that. And I was like, when you look in the mirror and all of a sudden you're just glowing, you kind of freak out a little bit. And I was
help, I've been abducted.
Help. Some alien just jacked off on my face. And I didn't even get to. And it's like, oh yeah, it freaked me the hell out. Fucking like, I've never forgot that shit. I was like, it freaked me the hell out looking in there and just saw my fucking old face glowing and shit.
Oh God.
I have noticed ever since, they don't spray that. For a long time, we had that mosquito shit truck drive around and spray that, toxic chemicals in the air for all.
Yeah, they do it all the time here, like every 2 weeks, and I swear to God, the mosquitoes are worse.
Well, they had that out here, but they had passed the parish council or something years ago did it and didn't put it up for a vote or nothing, and they were like sending people their mosquito abatement bill, and everybody was like, "Fuck that, I didn't vote for that shit," and nobody would pay for it. So they ran out of money, so they had to shut it down. It's like me, my house is a good, 50 to 75 yards off the highway. That shit they're spraying, guess what? It didn't help me out none at my house.
No, and it smells
It's good
like
for subdivision people, But I did notice the whole them years when they did do that, we had no lightning bugs and stuff. Now that they don't do that shit no more, I'm walking the dogs and shit, and I'll see lightning bugs flashing and stuff outside because all they were doing was killing all the damn lightning bugs and shit.
I just realized you're onto something. I tell you, where I grew up, we had them all the time, and then once they started doing mosquito control, because down here they do it with helicopters, they like crop dust you.
Jeez.
But they also got the trucks and ATVs and stuff. It's a big old agency here. And you would think it would be up there too, because you're all mosquitoes are like the size of a pterodactyl.
Yeah. Well, like I think some of the big cities and some of the other places still have it. We just don't have it out here. But once they stopped doing it, I was able to see lightning bugs and all that stuff again. But when they were doing it, they didn't have any.
That's what I was going to get at. I ain't seen one. And shoot, I ain't seen lightning bugs in about 10, 15 years.
See?
Done decimated it. Why can't they do that to the freaking love bugs instead of letting them end up all over the front of my truck?
Nothing. Love bugs only have one enemy. That's a vehicle.
I was going to say, because don't they breed and die?
Yeah, that's a vehicle. They don't have the love bugs. Don't even have a mouth.
But where do they go?
They go into the ground, the dirt, the grass, or whatever. That's where they lay.
You're bullshitting me.
That's where they lay all their eggs at.
No, I mean like they got to migrate or something. Because down here they look like locusts when they come into a neighborhood.
Well, here too, but it's just like, but they don't have mouths or nothing. I believe. Well, for all the people that do not live in the South area and don't know what a love bug is, look it up. Go to DuckDuckGo or something. Look it up online. See if you can find a picture of. Just type in love bug or whatever. Anyway, it's this little black bug with like a red head or eyes. I'm not sure what it is, and they attach it to each other. The male and female are attached, but like from butt to butt, and they're like stuck together. Like screwing all the time, and they fly around like that because you'll catch.
That's why they call them love bugs.
Yeah, they screwing constantly, and we like grab them and like pull them apart, like get away from each other. But but anyway, there's no natural. Birds don't eat them. Nothing eats love bugs because as a motorcycle,
I never got an answer where the hell they came from. I mean, some people say they came from college.
I'm going to get to it where I heard they came from, but I mean, it's just from where I heard. But as a motor cop, I will tell you from experience, love bugs are not delicious. They taste like shit because I have consumed some love bugs being on a motorcycle. We've had some bad seasons where you could see them. You'd be going down the road 60, 70 miles an hour, and all you see is just black in front of you. And the bugs are that thick, and all you can do is just duck down and just it's horrible. Your motorcycle, it's been so bad that we've had to pull over to the gas station and clean the windshield off on the motorcycle because you could not see through it.
Oh, and you ain't got a full face shield either.
No.
God.
Our boots. We actually we actually stopped somewhere to eat one time years and years ago, and we're sitting there, and we're sitting at the table, about 4 or 5 of us, and we're like, man, what the hell stinks in this restaurant? This place freaking stinks. And it wasn't the place that stunk. It was the motor cops sitting at the table because we had so many bugs on us and our boots and everything, and it was the smell of these bugs smushed on us that we were the ones stinking. And then when you're on your motorcycle and they're cooking on that motor, it's really bad. So, but love bugs have no natural. I mean, I heard. I didn't do no research. From what I always heard was that they were genetically engineered at some university.
University of Florida is what I heard. Yeah, to eat mosquitoes.
That I heard that, and they were also they were engineered to eat some other bug related to crops and stuff like that for farmers. They escaped out of the lab, kind of like the Wuhan, kind of like the last pandemic we're just in. Yeah. Escaped out of the lab, and thus
the same guy was in charge of both of them.
Yeah, the same. I don't know what security company don't hire them, but that's what it is. If you're up north or wherever, be happy you don't have love bugs. And
Yeah, but they got things we don't have.
they're
Like
attracted to what the color white and heat.
Yep.
So if you have a white car and it's hot, yeah.
Oh yeah, you're screwed. But they got like mayflies up north. Like those flies that just come in, they're gigantic and they just are everywhere.
Talking about like dead body flies.
No. I know what you're talking about. The death fly. That's like a gigantic horse fly. No,
it's like
there's another
the
one.
death fly is like what I'm talking about. Death fly is like the one. It looks like a house fly, but it's like 4 times the size, and it's got that iridescent kind of change colors to it and everything.
Like a brown.
Yeah, but it kind of. Anyway, it's a big ass fly. It's like when they're flying, you can hear them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I just call them dead body flies because you always see them around dead stuff.
On the windows.
Yeah.
You see a lot of flies. A lot of different variations.
You go up to a house and you hear buzzing inside. Yeah, it's a problem.
You walk into a house like that, you can smell it before you even get out of the cruiser.
Dead body flies. So we done jumped off a subject again.
We're good about that. We like our tangents.
Yes. I think we talked about some other car stuff or something. I don't remember.
Oh, what? Yeah, I got that one that happened in a small town. I ended up. You ever end up on the windshield of a cruiser before during a pursuit?
No.
Well, let's talk about Holstera's rookie mistake and when I learned not to chase ATVs down dirt roads in the summertime. Yeah. So going all the way back to the really small department, if you listen to part 1, it's this really small town. It's got literally one red light. You don't hit another red light till you're outside of the town and the whole nother county. Here I am. I pull out of the PD, I roll up to the red light, and I'm getting ready to just drive across and do a normal patrol. And I see an ATV. Now, in that town, they've passed laws because of all the kids that kept, getting seriously injured or dying. They passed laws that if you had an ATV on a hard road, it was an automatic impound. So I pull up to the red light facing eastbound. ATV pulls up to the red light facing westbound across the intersection from me.
Hi, how you doing?
Yeah, it was pretty much how it went. He looked at me, I looked at him, and the light turned green. He's gone. And of course I turned on lights, the sirens called it out and everything, what I'm, chasing after. And of course they give me emergency traffic. At that exact time, I was the only officer inside of the jurisdiction. There were 7 men, but whatever reason, they didn't always have 2 or 3 guys on. So our closest call was the county. And you guys are 30, 45 minutes out, unless they're running heavy. So I start chasing this guy, and we're on the highway. So, what the hell? You ain't going to outrun, a Crown Vic on a quad, not on the road. It just ain't going to happen. So he wasn't losing me. And all of a sudden, he took a sharp left and went down this dirt road. I'm like, okay, we're gonna get him. And you could see the little red tail light, because if you've ever driven down a Lime Rock Road, the amount of dust and everything that just kicks up makes it pretty much, you have no line of sight. You can't see down the road. You can't see shit because it's just a cloud that you're chasing. But I could see the little red tail light, and we're going down that road, and I called it out. And then I had one of the other units from the county go, "10-4, sir, that's a dead end, right?" I said, "No, I didn't. Thank you for that. So I guess the pursuit's it should be coming to a head here in a second." So I actually popped my seatbelt off, because here I am thinking, when we get to the end of this road, I'm going to have to do something. I'm going to have to, use the bull bars on the ATV or something to hold him to where he can't go anywhere.
You're thinking foot pursuit.
Yeah, I'm thinking foot pursuit. I'm thinking either he's going to give up, he's going to do something. I did not know what was coming next. What that county deputy was telling me was, "You're about to crash," but he didn't say that. So I see this tail light, because the middle of an ATV just got that one little brake light. And all of a sudden, it goes down, and it goes up, and it's gone. Now, I slowed down, so, I'm not running 70 anymore. Now I'm doing like 30. I couldn't understand where the hell that ATV just went. Like it just launched itself into space. All of a sudden, it seemed like it just cleared. All the dust is gone because this kid had hit this ditch in the ATV. He knew where the path was, hit it, and jumped into the neighborhood on the other side. Yeah, needless to say, I did a brake stand on the brakes and ended up, once the cruiser went nose first into that ditch, I was actually on the actual dashboard in the windshield. I didn't penetrate it. I was just kind of sideways and kind of cussing everything. Pretty sure that dash cam's out there somewhere, but that sucked. We ended up getting him like 3-4 days later, and it's only because he kept bragging that he totaled one of the county's cars. But man, yeah,
well, that's what
sucked.
happens. The bad guys, they'll think they, if they kept their mouth shut, they'd probably go away with it. But
oh, absolutely. I mean, how vague is the description of a red ATV in the middle of nowhere with a red helmet?
Yeah, they can't do it. They can't do it.
No, because they
tell
want
somebody. They want to tell somebody.
Yeah. You ever hit a deer?
No, I'm not saying unfortunately. I've had I brushed a horse and people actually up the road from me. I was going out to work a long time ago. Thank God I was in a unit that morning on my motorcycle. I come around a blind curve. Thank God I'm a pawpaw and I don't drive fast. And come around the curve and there was 3 horses in the road. And I clipped one with the mirror. And I avoided the other ones, thank God. And then a couple of years ago,
back on?
no, it didn't break the mirror. Believe it or not, I just clipped it, bent it, and it folded in. When I was working at my new department, before I got back in motors, I was in uniform patrol, and it's the area I was in is extremely not populated. And I was driving one night, and thank God, I actually had them white off-road lights mounted on my unit for these areas, and I had them on, and I was just poking along, and like a whole herd of deer come leaping across the road, like 6 of them, and I was able to stop just inches, and they were just jumping around across the road like they were, antelope or something. But no, I haven't, thank goodness, never actually hit one.
I have. I'll have to see if I can't find a dash cam, because believe it or not, it did go viral, but the agency uploaded it. It was not me. I was in that small department. And once again, when I say rural, I mean, it was extremely rural. If you had 100 kids in any school in that town, that was a big thing. They're very few and far between. But I had a domestic violence call for a backup, helping out the neighboring city. And they said they didn't have anybody to respond. Well, okay, yeah, I'm all about it. And he got there, and you could hear it over the radio that he was obviously in distress. For whatever reason, this guy got there, and it hit the fan from 0 to 1,000 real quick. And he's kind of, retreated back to the cruiser, just trying to keep the peace. And so I'm hauling ass. I'm not even going to lie. And this, 1 lane in, 1 lane out along the road, the opposite of the guy that was beating his pud down by the bay, the other direction. And all of a sudden,
that you're still in contact with.
Yeah, no, sure. We did figure out why he went crazy. It's because it beat to death. Anyway, I'm hauling ass out to this call. Now there's no traffic. It's about 02, 0300, and out there's nobody on the road unless, of course, the bar closed and you got 5 people on the road. But I'm sitting there and I'm tooling right along. I'm giving the car everything she's got because it's a long, straight road. Well, I never would have expected, out of nowhere, here comes Bambi, blink, right into the middle of the road. As you know, and I know from high speed introduction training, you don't jerk the steering wheel or slam on the brakes at 120, 140 miles an hour. You just don't do it. That's how you end up on your roof or dead.
Yeah, you
so
take the impact.
I committed. I didn't let my foot off the gas. I went into it, and thank God. And here in Florida, we have medium-sized deer. We don't have these big 8, 12-point bucks. They are significantly smaller. And at the time, my cruiser had the full wraparound push bumper on the front. And unfortunately for Bambi, Go Rhino makes a really solid bumper. And Bambi liquefied. It literally looked like you had just butchered that animal. It was wild. I immediately, slowed down, kind of pulled over to the side. Believe it or not, I hit the windshield wiper because the car was still driving, so I couldn't figure out what was damaged. So I hit the windshield wiper, the cleaner thing, and cleaned the chunks off the windshield, but I could still see. And I went ahead and advised dispatch. I had a signal 4 with an animal. The vehicle's still 10-8, though. I'm still 51. It's still en route to the call. And now, remember, I just told you, this dude and his lady were just raising hell with this other agency's officer. I come sliding in like Bo Duke in my unit, covered in blood. It just looks like Silence of the Lamb all the way over the car. And instantly...
Like you just come from The Walking Dead.
Right. Like I just butchered a bunch of people. Do y'all want some now?
Yeah.
It put a stop to it pretty quickly. The husband and the officer immediately just goes, "What the hell happened?" I completely forgot that it was a domestic violence call, and I ended up having, the guy come over to me, and then he was able to question the female, and ended up the guy, 10-15 ended up taking him. But in that town's car, because mine was going straight to the car wash. It, believe it or not, didn't damage the front end. It was dented a little bit, but that's it from the, the impact onto the hood from the meat. And the worst thing in the world, the smell the following weeks, because
smell that flesh that got stuck all up
the
in
flesh,
it.
Underneath the cowling of the windshield. Because of course I washed it 2 or 3 times, plus pressure washed it and got out and hand scrubbed the car. But little chunks of meat that fall down in the AC cowling, oh dear Lord, oh no, that was bad. AC on blast for weeks on end with all 4 windows down. Yeah, that was yeah, poor me. But that was one of them things that I just never would have imagined was about to happen.
I've had the only thing I think I've really animal wise that are hit in the unit is, and I didn't even I was working nights and I must have hit it and not realized it because I happened to be at the jail to get my unit washed with the the inmates washed, the trustees. I pull up, and this was so far long ago. We didn't have fuel, man. We actually had fueled up at the jail. We had to actually drive there to get fuel. I think I went there.
Yeah, I've worked at a few agencies like that. Their own gas pumps.
Yeah, I went there to get fuel and get the unit washed, and the inmate said something. I was like, "What are you talking about?" Well, I got out and looked because he said I had a rabbit head underneath my unit. I'm like, "This dude, you got some crack up in this motherfucker?" Well, I bent down and I looked, and somehow I must have hit a rabbit on shift and not realized it or whatever. But somehow the head with the meat had got wrapped around something underneath my unit. The body wasn't there, but it was just this rabbit head hanging underneath the unit. I'm like, he's like, I said, "Did you want me to?" I'm like, "Yeah, I want you to fucking get. I can be driving around just fucking, traumatizing kids,
Was you day shift or night shift?
I was on night shift, but I mean, I just didn't come to work and still. I'm just like, "Yeah, get it out from under." I mean, I've heard about a lucky rabbit's foot, but not the lucky I mean, I had fucking Bugs Bunny just decapitated underneath the
Could you imagine pulling up beside a little girl at a red light and like just waving at the little girl, and all of a sudden she notices there's a whole damn rabbit head hanging from your car? Oh God, the mental
Oh
anguish.
yeah, I just had a rabbit head. Just hanging underneath the fucking car. No, I did have a UPS guy along. I mean, had a UPS driver hit, or it was FedEx. Anyway, one of those people had hit a fawn. I'm talking a tree Bambi. It still had spots on it, and a little baby deer still had spots on it. And
Venison.
yeah. Anyway, he hit this deer in this subdivision. He was a city boy down in the country, and I get over there to work. It put a little tiny ding in this fucking like UPS truck or something. So I get over there and I'm writing this shit up. And so I figured I'd just fuck with him, of course, I look at him, I'm like, sir, well, I didn't see it, I promise. I'm like, I'm going to have to cite you unless, do you have your hunting license? And he just got quiet and he's looking at me. I said, sir, do you have a hunting license? Well, no. No. I'm like, I'm going to cite you for killing this deer, and plus it's out of season. But it jumped out in front of me. I mean, he goes into full blown,
God.
It's not my fault mode. And I'm like, I'm serious. I'm like, I mean, what I'm supposed to do with you? This dude actually thought I was about to like arrest his ass for hitting this deer. Finally, I looked at him. I said, so you want this deer? What you want? What do you mean? Do I want it? I was like, do you want it? Like to take it home and clean it and eat it? He's like, oh my God, no. So I had somebody else come pick it up and they cleaned it and ate it. I mean, at least it didn't go into waste. I mean, but he was like, oh my God. Yeah. But at one point, I think this man was about to cry because he actually thought that I was about to arrest him for killing that deer.
Oh, dear Lord.
City folk.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt.
It was too easy. It was too easy.
On a separate note, you ever caught somebody in the middle of somewhere where they weren't supposed to be cheating while on duty?
Did I catch a cop doing that or just a civilian?
No, not a cop. Hell no, we wouldn't be talking about that. No, a civilian. Just you're driving around in the middle of nowhere and all of a sudden there's a car definitely not supposed to be there.
I rolled up on, I don't know if they were cheating or not. I mean, I rolled up on some teenagers and shit like that back in the day.
Oh, no, I always went to full bore, man. I get both their IDs.
Oh, no, I would use, I know, I mean, I fucked with them, but I mean, I don't know. Most of them was never no grown folks. It was all, teenagers and shit like that, or college kids or something.
No, I had one. The reason I had one guy, and it's hilarious because if he ever decides to listen to the podcast, he'll know exactly who I'm talking about. It was a commercial complex, and down here we have a lot of them, like big, like Amazon fulfillment center. Just think about that. But for trucking, so at 3:00 in the morning, you shouldn't see parking lights.
Oh, no.
In the middle of nowhere, like between semis.
I'm picking up the lot lizard.
Yeah. So I went ahead and I actually drove by it and I just said, what the fuck? What is that? So I swung back around and I hit the windshield with the spotlight. And all of a sudden you just seen the two heads pop up. And immediately I just told him, I was like, all right, just do me a favor, put your hands on the dash. Don't move. Well, I didn't know what they were doing, whether they were doing dope or what. And I get up closer to the car and yeah, they're naked. So I tell him to go ahead and get dressed and her to get dressed. And I've walked away. In the meantime, I had a captain pull up. And this particular captain, they've been trying to put him on a desk for years. And he just flat out refuses, says, you could have him a badge the day you take me off patrol. So he did all the admin side of the house and did patrol as well, which I had never seen before. But the guy's a hard ass. And I'm over here at the car running their IDs, and suddenly I started hearing screaming. And I look up and jump out of the cruiser, and it's my captain. I'm like, everything's, you good? You 10-4? And he's still talking to this guy. He goes, I told you to keep your hands on the steering wheel. Don't you move. I said, Captain, you got a weapon or what? What are you doing? He goes, he's just acting funny. The guy was so nervous that right after he said that, the guy didn't even remove his hands from the steering wheel and just projectile vomited all over his own lap. And my captain was just like, what the fuck? Come to find out, because either way, I didn't take him out of the car at all. The captain just, dealt with him. The female got out. Apparently, this young man was cheating with this girl and was afraid it was going to get back to his wife, that he was back here doing this with her. So that nervousness, his fight or flight was taken off, but that captain wasn't going to let him do anything flighty. It was one of those, you're going to sit right there and don't move. So afterwards, I proceeded to go ahead, and of course we criminal trespassed from the property, but I didn't go 10-15. I let them leave on their own, ROR. I give her back her ID. I set his ID on the dashboard because I just wasn't going to touch him or anywhere near that. And I said, just so you know, you are trespassed from all these, I won't say the name of the company, but any of their commercial parking lots. If you're ever found here again, you will go to jail. They go, okay, we understand. And the guy goes, well, aren't you supposed to hand me something? And I said, your ID? And he goes, no, like a piece of paper telling, that I was trespassed. I said, oh, no, sir. That comes in the mail in the next 30 to 90 days.
Threw up again.
He didn't throw up, but I didn't give him a second. I left, and we get back to the cruiser. And of course, my captain's cracking up laughing. He's a New Yorker that came down, and he's got a hell of a sense of humor. But he was just rolling, laughing, and I was like, "Why the hell did you do that?" And he goes, "I don't know. He was just acting weird, man. He's making me nervous." I'm like, "Okay, I can't fault you for that." And he goes, "I got one for you. Why did you tell him we were going to mail shit to the house in the next 30 to 90 days when we don't hand out paperwork for that?" I said, well, put it this way. His wife's going to find it's really funny that he's next to that mailbox for the next 90 days every time the mail comes in.
Yeah.
I said, he maybe, give him a reason to come clean or something. Shit. Oh, God.
Moral of that story is don't cheat.
Exactly. Or at least get a hotel.
Or
take the young lady somewhere nice. If you want to treat her like a truck stop hooker, then I guess put her in the back seat of your whip.
Yeah, we just I didn't handle the call. This was recently. We have some truck stops in the area out in the parish I work, and somebody get dispatched to it. This truck driver was chasing a lot lizard down the road towards the other truck stop because she done stole his freaking wallet from him after they done finished.
So she didn't take her payment. She took the whole wallet.
Yeah. She took the whole wallet. So how embarrassing has that got to be? And
if she'd have thought about it, she should have just taken a lot more money, cash.
Yeah.
And then she could have lied about it. But once you got his wallet, you're screwed.
And if anybody wants to know, lot lizards, hookers, prostitutes, they don't look like the ones you see on TV that are actually,
no, those are cops
that are actually attractive. If you see a prostitute standing, a streetwalker, a prostitute, a lot lizard, that is, you're like, damn, look at that. That's probably a cop, because most of them don't have all their teeth or any teeth or anything like that. They're not very good looking women. Okay. So that crap you see on TV is not real. That's for TV purposes. They
no
actually
Julia Roberts popping out on you.
Yeah, well, I never found her attractive anyway, but it's just, I don't know. She's got such a long face. When I see her, all I think of a horse.
Well, she played a horse, or no?
No, that's
horse?
a whore. No, I said a I said a horse, like the kind you ride, like the 4-legged horses, not a horse. A horse.
I guess some people ride those too. I don't know.
Well, yeah, they do, but it's like I don't know. She just, but yeah, I see it on TV. I'm like prostitutes don't look like that. Not the ones that I've had to. I've never paid for any. I'm saying the ones I've had to deal with in job, related way.
Oh yeah.
And it's just like, geez, somebody paid you.
Yeah, I mean, like we got to wear gloves anytime we go 10-12 with these people.
It's like
anytime. Yeah, no.
I'll pay you just to get away from me. Just don't even
Fact.
talk to me. Go away. People are paying for that. It's pretty fucking disgusting.
Of course, different strokes for different folks.
Prostitution's taking a whole different turn, now, and they like to call themselves sugar babies, and have these men give them money and buy them stuff. But
see, now that's different. That's
prostitution.
Well, it is, but we're not talking about your regular meth heads.
No. These are cute, pretty little 20-something.
Usually, it's like an
exotic
dancer,
something like that.
Yeah,
but I mean, it's the same thing. If you take a woman out and pay dinner and a movie and pay them sex, you paid for it regardless. So, I mean, I'm not dogging people for doing it. I mean, I'm just saying it's my whole point of this whole conversation was they don't look like they do in the fucking TVs and their movies.
No, never. I'll tell you right now, it's hilarious because my tax office, it's in not the best location in town. And I'll stand out front smoking a cigarette, and all of a sudden this extremely attractive, woman walks up in a mini skirt, high heels, and her tits hanging out pretty much. And, hey, you want to party? And I'm like, no, ma'am, I do not. You have a wonderful day. Yeah, it's just plainly obvious that I work there. I know the type of women that walk by that do that for a living. Yeah. You don't belong there. Yeah. They pulled you from the sector on the other side of the county.
Mm-hmm. What's your badge number? That's what you ought to say next time.
Right.
Hey, you want to party? I don't know. What's your badge number?
Yeah, right. What time do you go 10-7? I'll answer that then.
Yeah. I remember this was a long time ago. Like I said, I did not know. I don't know. This was probably 8 to 10 years ago, somewhere in that range. Out of state for a motorcycle competition. I think we were around Memphis, Tennessee. That area, anyway. Like I said. Anyway, we were at Buffalo Wild Wings after practicing and all that shit. Tired. I was having a few drinks. I was drinking some margaritas that evening, which I probably had a couple. I mean, I wasn't drunk, but I wasn't feeling no pain either. This waitress walks up to me and she's like, "Hey, do you want to play cornhole?" Well, I didn't know what the fuck that was at the time. I looked at her and
you started to get excited, didn't you?
I looked at her. I said, "How much does that cost?" I said, "How much is that gonna cost me?" And she just kind of turned and walked off. And my buddy, old Shrek, he looked at me. He's like, "You stupid ass." I'm like, "What?" I said, "That girl just offered me butt sex," and when I asked her how much it was, she left. I was like, "What?" He's like, "You stupid motherfucker, cornhole's that game where they throw beanbag." I said, "Are you talking about beanbag toss? Because that's what we always called it growing up."
Worst fucking name for a game ever.
I said, "Where the fuck did cornhole come in?" I mean, there's no corn involved in it.
There is.
Well, it's what that's what's inside the bean bags they use in corn.
Yeah, that's what's inside the bean bag. It's from like up north, like a Midwesterner type deal. So they take a little burlap sack and fill it with corn.
We call that beanbag toss, okay? But she's like,
because we ain't preferred it. Yeah.
She's like, "Do you want to play corn?" But yeah, he's like, I'm thinking, this fucking waitress wants me to like have butt sex with her, and I mean, like I said, I was about 4 margaritas in at the time, the big ones too, and I didn't know.
Didn't they sing a country song about that? I'm married to a waitress, I don't even know your name.
I'm not sure. Yeah, but that was my first corn because Clyde that I talked to will eventually have him and his wife on one day as guests. They are cornhole professional or something. They actually like in a cornhole league. Because I texted him one night. I said, "Look, we're going live." He's like, "Oh, we're at some cornhole thing," and I texted him back. I said, "Just make sure
Orgy?
just make sure you wipe it really good first."
Bleach it a little.
Yeah, yes, you can. There are places that you can go get your butthole bleached. I mean,
Yeah.
Haven't done it. Just saying, I don't know if I could lay on face down on the table and have someone spread my butt cheeks open and just put bleach on it. So.
Well, that's like, for instance, I never understood how women were just okay with, like, for instance, the feminine waxing, where they've got to lay on the table, spread eagle, and have another woman put the wax down there, and then they rip it off.
Well, that's just got to hurt like a motherfucker.
Well, I can imagine. Yeah, that would not feel too tingly.
No, that don't sound like good. Well,
but I guess if you could pop out an 8 pound 9 ounce kid, you were probably built a little tougher than.
No. I mean, I seen somebody not too long ago, get their nose hairs waxed, and I reached over to tweezers one time and pulled the nose hair out, and I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure the roots were in my ass. Because it hurt that far. I think I screamed for my mom. My eyes watered. I don't know if they was watering, if it was just tears of pain. But yeah, I just use the trimmers now. So is
that where they stick the little damn lollipops up there?
Yes, I didn't have it done. I watched somebody else have it done, and I'm like, oh no, I would never do that.
No, I use trimmers. I couldn't imagine.
I use the trimmers too. I mean, but I washed it. And I was like, oh my God, this poor fella.
I'd be afraid of ripping my nose off my face. Ain't it like some ridiculously low poundage that it takes to rip somebody's nose off, the cartilage?
I'm not sure, but it just looks painful.
Yeah.
All right,
about that life.
We're a little past the hour. He'll end up coming back again because, like I said, we will just keep going and going. Me and Holstera here. Again, hope everyone had a safe and happy Memorial Day. And remember why Memorial Day is celebrated, for the men and women that gave their lives for us and this country, even though it's going to shit. I got a little shout out. Not going to say no names or nothing. Got an email from a fellow MOTORCOP in Oklahoma. I did respond. I appreciate it. Shoot me your address and I will send you some stickers, and if you would like to be a guest on the show, just let me know. We'll hook something up, and if you don't have a nickname, we'll figure something out for you and you can be a guest. We'll keep you anonymous, but shout out to you. I appreciate it. What you
Give me no sticker.
Well, I'll mail you a damn sticker. Anyway, like I always say, if you want to contact me, it's motorcopchronicles@gmail.com. We're on Facebook, YouTube, Rumble. I need to put some more videos up on Rumble. Twitch, live shows every Wednesday. Me and Doc Holliday. I've been putting some pretty good news reports we'll be able to talk about again. So you got anything you want to end this with? I got one other thing, because I don't want Holstera to feel bad about anything, but we're going to play him his theme music here before we do leave.
It's raining men. Hallelujah. It's raining men.
Just have to throw that back out there. Go listen to part 1 if you don't get it.
Oh, yeah, no, you will. I mean, it's turned into, I've got TikTok followers and people on Clapper, which is an app like TikTok. It's not a place where you go if you got STDs. It's pretty cool. Either way, no.
So go get the clap.
Yeah, go get the clapper. Anyway, no, I've got plenty of friends on there that now I'm the police officer stripper from the podcast. So that's it. It caught on.
Yeah, sure go get you some clapper.
It's always hilarious to be on here talking with you. So yeah, in the future, we'll definitely have to do it again.
Yeah. So like I said, get in touch with me if you're a first responder, veteran, anything like that. Want to tell some story or something like that, or email me and I'll read them.
Yeah,
I always like hearing from people anyway. If you are listening on Apple, write me a 5-star, leave 5 stars, write a review. Helps with the algorithm. Did you say grinder?
You're in the middle of giving your spiel, and they just send him to him on his grinder.
No, I do
Oh,
not have
God.
grinder. That's you, right?
It's raining men. Hallelujah. It's raining men.
So, anyway, remember to always smile because the Iceman could always be behind you. I'll see y'all Wednesday if y'all come back.
I'm cranking up on the throttle. This is how legends are made.